Hello everybody, I'm Neha Mahajan and right now we are at Big Cinemas at Oak Tree Road in Edison. We are right now at New Jersey Independent South Asian Cinefest, bringing to you works by and about South Asian women. We got tremendous response from our fans and supporters and we thank you all for that. This event that's happening in New Jersey as such, I mean, if you compare it to the ones that happen in New York or the kind of lineup of films that we have.
I think it's great. I think it's great because there's equally large concentration of Indian community in New Jersey, so this is a great opportunity for them to see it locally as opposed to travel all the way to New York. So I think it's great. I hope there is many of these type of movies that can be seen.
Well, I'm always interested in South Asian women getting liberated and stuff like that, so hopefully they made some meaningful cinema and we get to see it. And this is a good job, it's free so people can come.
Kudos to you. Yeah, you should. I think we need more of this in Jersey.
Fantastic. We were talking about this. We'd love to come next year also, and if I can volunteer, I would have.
Well, I found out about it from my neighbor, who's Kakoli right here. And I think it's wonderful to showcase films like this that are more about human struggle and more authentic about the struggles of women particularly. So that's why I was interested.
I've been in regular contact with the Vice President.
You've just come out of Yasmin. What do you think about such movies? And especially when they're being shown in your area in New Jersey.
I think it's it's not like easy to come up with these topics and and just watch. I mean, it's difficult to even express your feelings about it, and but I just love the documentaries movie, and that's why I usually come here, and I like the movie. It was very good.
Actually, I go to school in Amherst, and my mother told me about the festival, and I study women's studies, and it just sounded like a wonderful event that we wanted to be a part of.
I've been coming to this movie for a very long time, and I have seen many different films here. This particular independent film festival I read about in the Star Ledger and thought it sounded absolutely marvelous, and I just saw the most amazing film, Yasmin. It's brilliant.
I heard about the festival randomly. I went online and I wanted something to do, and I found this very interesting. I love movies, and so I looked up, and the theme was very relevant to me. As you see, I was crying. It was so touching. I enjoyed it very much, and I appreciate this opportunity.
Life is full of colors. Just look around. Just look around. Just put all this in your palette and pour them on your canvas. Just celebrate. What's wrong with celebration? Hey, you promised one a day.
Bonolata Shen of NATO.
Life Goes On is essentially a family drama. It is about an Asian family, an Indian family, in fact a Bengali family living in London. It's a Bengali doctor and his family. It spans the length of 6 days, so it's a very concentrated period of time. And in a way it is an adaptation of Shakespeare's King Lear into the Bengali British context, contemporary context. It also explores a father's relationship with his 3 daughters. It also explores what happens to a household and how it falls apart when the mother figure is absent unexpectedly and suddenly she has to go. So there are a lot of emotional strands coming into the story, but also because it is contemporary and it is contextual, we've also looked at a lot of issues which then become the cause for generational conflict.
Yeah, I saw Mirch last night, and I just saw Life Goes On right now. And I thought they were both very interesting films and touched upon a lot of subjects that you wouldn't normally have in mainstream cinema. So
Life Goes On. The poetry was beautiful, and the music was beautiful, and the acting was great. I loved it.
I just saw Life Goes On. I thought it was wonderful, particularly being a first generation growing up here. Their experiences were very similar to ours. And it's wonderful to see how communication and dialogue can be increased by these kinds of films.
There are only about 3 South Asian festivals in North America that are dedicated to women. How do you think this initiative at NJISSCF, New Jersey Independent South Asian Cinefest, will help?
I think it's a very healthy initiative. I congratulate you for doing that, because all over the world, Shuktida, whether it's Hollywood or Bollywood or even Bengal, the filmmaking world is a male-dominated world. It is a male-led world. And we celebrate every new filmmaker or writer who is a woman, or today a cinematographer or an editor. But you can really count them on your 5 fingers. There's sometimes less than that. So it's a question of being represented in a male-dominated industry. It's a struggle about getting your work recognized seriously. I've gone through that myself. I've taken some of my women-oriented stories to Bombay, where the producer would turn back and say, "Oh, you have a lovely story, but let's not do this as a woman's story. Let's make it a man's story." So there is a sort of, a dominant viewpoint, and a woman, I think, is constantly working against it to bring in something as an alternative point of view.
Okay, being a woman filmmaker, what kind of challenges have you faced, and how easy or difficult has it been to kind of make your mark in this industry?
One, that although officially this is my first feature film, I'm not new in this industry. I've made a number of documentaries before this. I have worked on Brick Lane, the British film, and I've worked with Rituparna Ghosh on a series of films as his associate director in India. So the festival circuit, I also write on cinema. So I am a film historian, I am a film critic, I teach cinema in the university. So travel to the festival, especially the important European festivals, is something that I've been doing for many years. It's a familiar scenario, and there are people whom there are festival directors who knew that I was starting to make my film. But yes, when you talk about the making of the film, it is a struggle, because officially on paper it is a first feature. So starting from the script, from the development to actually finding the funds, all of that is a very uphill task, and I completely understand how difficult it is for any filmmaker. I think what also helped in a certain way was in the project we had names like Sharmila Tagore and Om Puri, Girish Karnad and Soha Ali, which for a new project would have been quite difficult. Absolutely. But I think it's the strength of the script or my relationships with these actors who felt that they were convinced that to support such a script and to support such a project. So it came with some star names attached to it. It came with a wonderful, brilliant group of new talent from Britain, some Asian actors and some British actors who are part of this. Yes. So altogether, the project itself, I think, grew organically. Yes. And so therefore, everything came together. It was a small budget film. We were not being terribly ambitious. But yes, it has been, it's like one of the actors in Bollywood, Saif Ali Khan, has actually said this, that when you stand out there and you're about to shoot, it's like going to war. It's like you are on the battlefield, and that whole day is about striving against odds and getting to what you have to do at the end of it.
Meet Stella. When she's not cooking up amazing dishes, she's cooking up clever schemes.
Ice wine, not rice wine. This is Canadian shop, not Chinese.
My Saab is not stupid. He is my boss, big boss from Canada.
Stay with me, otherwise they will think you are a foreigner. White people like Indian pudding and Indian people like English pudding.
Cooking with Stella.
Always I have a feeling that I'm, first of all, before an artist, I'm a human being, so that is always there. That's why, for me, yes, somebody is doctor, somebody is professor, somebody is a shopkeeper, somebody is a sweeper, equally I'm an artist, that's all. But chalte phirte, I cannot show that I'm an artist. So chalte phirte, I'm a human being. So always, when I perform, that time I'm totally different person.
As a documentary filmmaker, you know, an experimental filmmaker, I think very often what the focus is on narrative films and, you know, the big stars or the Bollywood film or the ones that have, you know, well-known names attached to it. And while I think it's great to have that space as well, it's also important to be able to show, you know, upcoming filmmakers the kinds of issues that a lot of documentary experimental filmmakers are addressing. So in that sense, yes, there are spaces that exist in New York, but just to show it within the South Asian community. And I think there are a few South Asian festivals in New York, absolutely. But again, they get very focused on sort of the big names. So it is nice to have that range. I like it that it's, you know, you don't have 8 things going on at once and everybody can get to see. I mean, it's very heartening for a filmmaker when you're showing your work and there, you know, 50, 60, 100, 200 people, you're filling up an audience. And there's an interest, there's obviously an interest, right? And it's the fact that you've got 3 theaters running at once is really telling about the kind of reception that that there is a need, right? So I think that's wonderful.
It's great to have an event like this in Middlesex County in New Jersey, and you know, we drove here in about 30 minutes, and you know, you don't have to go into the theater, so.
It's extremely moving and gives you a deeper cultural understanding. We should have more people come to, and I think there was a very good turnout, but I encourage others to come as well.
I think it's, you know, it's very encouraging for the filmmakers, I assume, you know, with this kind of a show, and also I think it gives an audience like people like us a chance to watch movies that you would normally not hear about or know about. So I think it's very encouraging, you know.